we aren't necessarily taught how powerful it is to be a human, to have thoughts, to utilize your mental faculties intentionally. Many of us are aware of the power of the mind. Many of us are not aware of the power of the mind. Either way, whatever end of the spectrum you are on, you're going to be affected because of the connectivity, the oneness of everything, right? So this is why I see how depression or mental health issues is affecting everybody, despite the fact that one may more intentionally utilize their mind, their thought forms, their words or actions at a more skilled level than another. I also see that the reasons why people actually get into this mode where they're depressed is because they go through things that are worthy of feeling some type of way. Anger, sadness, frustration, confusion, all these things, right? And you're feeling them all at once. You're not processing them. You don't know how to process them because there's so many coming at you. Right? And this is probably a concept that you can go learn from various different avenues. But I'm just kind of breaking it down in a way where it's not necessarily professional, but it is what my experience. This is my personal experience. And the wisdom that I've gained through my personal experience. I gotta make this brief because I have to clear out some things out of my phone before I have enough storage. So, anyways, all these emotions, really annoying. But what happens when you start to consciously choose to make better decisions for yourself? You start to elevate your own existence by doing things that are in alignment with your health and wellness, and yet you still deal with this mental issue. So you can align yourself to things that are so healthy for you and still experience depression. Why are we still experiencing those things? Let's say you got everything in check, or, relatively, it's significantly better than it was. You don't have to be perfect, but it's significantly better. Oftentimes we find ourselves in environments where we're around other people, and as you start to do things that are good for yourself, you start to become more receptive to energy. You start to become more receptive to thought forms. This is a natural function of our body. And when we're not taught how to work with this or how to even relate to one another, relationships are so important. And you can have a healthy relationship with a person, a mutual level of respect, if there is thought forms that are flowing within an individual that you are in close proximity to, necessarily. And perhaps it's not in alignment with what you're doing, or perhaps it's not in alignment with what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. But it could affect us mentally. It could affect the way that we perceive ourselves, the way we relate to one another. There's infinite ways on how that can play out. And if you're intentional, you can honestly find yourself to be in a state of harmony. You can find ways to experience peace in any kind of circumstance. But one thing that I've noticed is that you can become so sensitive to thought forms, to energy, that it affects you in ways that you did not intend. Right? So how are you going to remedy this if you're not aware of this? This is why I'm bringing it to your awareness. I'm still learning how to navigate these things as we continue to improve naturally. That's just what happens as you continue your practice. Being able to differentiate what's your energy, what's your thoughts, and what is the energy and the thought forms of another. One of the main things I can say about this, as far as it being helpful, is understanding and integrating this information that everything is connected and there really is no inherent separation between us all. When we start to perceive everything in unison as one, we can start to have a deeper understanding, more prone to being understanding, to being loving, to being kind and compassionate. Because when you harm another person, you're harming yourself. So if you have a thought form that is a genuine emotion that you feel about somebody in close proximity to you, and it is not being expressed internally, externally, in a productive way, in a way that promotes growth, then that inadvertently is going to hurt you. So this is one simple awareness that allows me to learn how to transmute the energy within myself. Well, we're one. I don't necessarily agree with you. We don't have to agree, but being that there are differences, I have to learn how to relate to you in a way that's healthy. You will know as you start to align yourself to the possibility of respecting one another, to exactly what it is that you need. And sometimes that means you need to walk away, that you need to remove yourself from a situation. But I find that I can genuinely appreciate, align with somebody and not want to move away and still kind of be posed with this energy of, this feels uncomfortable. So that's another thing, is understanding that we haven't been taught to connect with one another in such a way. Some people have, and that's wonderful. And I look forward to learning from you, right? But the majority of people have not been taught how to find themselves in healthy relationship despite our differences. And then the thought forms start to happen. People start to go down really negative paths in their mind in relationship to another. And this is very unhelpful, because you can have brilliant people who are aligning with you for a reason that only you will know what that is, and that person will know what that is. And when y'all come together and agree with one another that y'all care for each other, you can work in that respect as far as how those brilliant lights that come together will actually create something else. One thing that I do feel called to say is, just because you're working with somebody doesn't necessarily mean you have to relate to that person in such a way as to appease that person, or for that person to appease you. You don't have to be what everybody wants you to be in order to work with somebody. Actually, it is very unhelpful for you to deviate away from your own values and your own authenticity in order to accommodate something else. So when you're working with groups, I find it's extremely important to understand this, to allow people to have their own autonomy and to simultaneously work together. Leave that space where people can actually breathe and be themselves. And, of course, breathing. If we're not breathing properly, these ideas most likely will not produce a harmonious outcome. Everything is mirroring the breath patterns. And so this is of the utmost importance, which is why I leave links in the description. Be mindful of what your thoughts are. Be mindful of how you're relating to another person. Be honest. You can assess a situation and move accordingly to what you know is within you. It is challenging to know what is within you if you're not well, if you are ingesting poisons, toxins, if you're imbalanced, overindulging, not giving yourself enough of what you need. All these things are going to play into part. So look in the description, learn the ways in which you can actually be balanced within your body so that you can think clearly. And then as you do that, you will have more room to be creative as far as how you're going to relate to people as you continue to allow your mind to get into these more, yes, helpful states, more centered and balanced states, but they also come with other things like more receptivity, more sensitivity, more awareness. So I appreciate you and I'm wishing you wellness. Please comment or reach out to me. Let me know what you go through. I'm genuinely interested in what your experience is. And so I'm more than happy to hear about what you have to say about this. So, yes, I appreciate you. Bye.